This is my macro Monarch deck profile for the March 1st ban list 2013. So here we go. I'm going to start off with 3 DD survivors. This is besides the macro, this is the engine of the deck. It's like the Treeborn of this deck. Then a lot of decks like to run 2 or 3 of these, but I only like 1 because it summons itself back into attack mode. This is a DD scout plane. It's kind of hard to read. Yeah, right there. I only like 1 because, well, even in Treeborn decks or Frog Monarch decks, you only run like 2 or 3 Treeborns. Some decks even run 1, so yeah. I think 4 is plenty between these 4, and then I've got a couple other tech-ins that this goes in. This card, simple, just like Survivor. If it's banished, comes back the end phase. Then I run triple Caius, because Caius, everyone knows Caius. Banish a dark for 1,000, or just banish back row if you need it gone. 1 Dark Dust, great card, dark hole in a monster. Every turn too, because it bounces back. Raiza, I only run 1 Raiza because I don't really like Raiza. I mean, it's a good card, but it's, yeah. Mobius, 1 Mobius, because in this build you don't actually run MSTs, so this is my MST. This is a double MST right here. You know, it can get Starlight Roaded, but if you think they have a Starlight Road, like if they have 3 back row, they probably have a Starlight Road, so you should use the effect to do only 1, because it can blow up 1 or 2. I run triple Cyber Valley. Great card. It's great defense. You know, it's if it's targeted for an attack, you can banish it, end your opponent's battle phase, and then draw a card. It's great for attacking, and then there's this little combo you can do with him and DD Survivor or Scout Plane. Or actually, you can do that with any monster in this deck. He has a second effect. You can banish himself and another monster to draw 2. And since Survivor is effect, you know, he comes back at the end phase, it's a great combo. You can do that with any monster, but typically you would want to do it with him or Scout Blade. Next would be, I run triple Battle Fader because, yeah, it's a great card. It's tribute fodder for the Monarchs, and it stops your opponent from OTKs. Simple as that. Next, we run triple Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon's a great card too. If you're playing against machines, you can go into that Chimeritic Fortress Dragon really easily. It's a beat stick if you need it, and it's tribute fodder if you need it. So, great card. Next, we do, now for the spells. That was the monsters. 1 Soul Exchange. I feel that in this build, in this type of deck, you run, well, it's because of a couple other tech choices that I don't run more Soul Exchange, but I think 1 is good in this deck because you've got the Caius, you've got the Mobius, you've got the Raiza, and yeah, you know, if you can get over that 1 monster that's giving you trouble with Soul Exchange, then that's probably it. Because this deck handles monsters really well. It handles problems really well. 1 Allure, since you're running, you know, triple Fader, triple Survivor, triple Caius, you know, why not Allure? It's really easy to Allure in this deck. And then, obviously, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy. And then here's where the tech comes in. I mean, yeah, I play double Fiend Sanctuary. For those of you that don't know, Fiend Sanctuary is a free token, basically. You play this, you get a token. Typically, you will tribute that token for one of your monarchs, but in a sticky situation, this card can actually stay in the field, and its effect is, or not this card, the token. The token's effect is it's 0 attack, 0 defense. I think it's a fiend. Yeah, it's called Metal Fiend token. It's a dark, it's a fiend, and it can't attack. But if your opponent attacks into it, they take any damage that you would take. So you summon it into attack, it's just stall right there. Especially if your opponent's got low life points, they probably won't attack it. And then during each of your standbys, you can pay 1,000 or to keep it, or just let it die and not pay. So typically what I like to do if I'm a sticky spot, I will Fiend Sanctuary, let it sit there. They usually don't attack it because they don't want to take the damage. So for them, it's not worth it. They'd rather just have me pay. And then dependent on my draw next turn, if I draw into a Soul Exchange, or I draw into a Monarch, or a Battle Fader, or a Cyber Valley, any of those cards, I will, if it's a Monarch, I'll probably pay the 1,000, tribute this, tribute the token, and then blow up with a Monarch. Or I will let the token die if I drew into a Soul Exchange, and then I can take out that monster that's giving me trouble. And then I run Double Duality, because in this deck, it's kind of slow to get it started, because you do need a macro and a survivor. So it's not exactly, or a defissure, but you probably want macro, especially nowadays with Exceeds and their material going to grave even with defissure up. So this card definitely speeds up the deck a little bit. I usually, if I don't draw into a survivor or a macro first hand, I'll usually draw into a duality, and then I can pull off macro or survivor right there. And then here's a couple more. Here's another tech I like to do. It's actually a new card. It's March of the Monarchs. Really, really, really great card. This card has won me so many games on its own. I get a Caius up, I play this. It's so hard to get over it, because it's just so hard. I've seen my opponents struggle so much. I've seen second and third game, my opponents will judgment this card because it's such a pain in the ass. What it does, it's a new card, so probably not everyone knows about it. Tribute summon, I think that's clear enough. It's clear enough. Tribute summon monsters you control cannot be targeted by or destroyed by card effects. And then you can't special from the extra deck, but in this deck, you don't actually have an extra deck, because Survivor only works if he goes from face up on the field, and if he's used as an Exceed, he's not treated as on the field anymore. So in this deck, I don't really run Exceeds. I don't run an extra deck Exceeds. I don't run tuners. The deck has been fine. I topped once at my locals with this deck. I've gone like 5 times. So, I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad either. And if I don't top, I always get to semifinals with a pretty good score. So yeah, next we have Double Defissure. Defissure, like I said, gets the deck going. It hurts the opponent usually. DD Survivor brings it back. It's a great card. Next, we run Triple Macro. That's it for spells. This is traps. I'll probably have a deck list in the description, because I know a lot of people are lazy and don't want to watch the video. I know I'm that type of person too. I just want to get through it. If I'm looking at a deck list, I'll typically just want to see the list, because people don't usually explain some plays. They just show the deck list. But anyways, I run Triple Macro. Great card. Starts up your Survivor, lets you go into Monarchs, and it hurts your opponent really bad, especially if they like to Exceeds, or if they like to run on Grave, like Mermails and Fire Fist, not so much, but they do need their spells to go to the grave to get their blow-up effect, so yeah, it hurts Mermails a lot. I mean, Fire Fist. Next, Double T Prison, just monster removal. If you You know, there's something annoying. Double Torrential. This deck, really good against Torrential because Survivor, like I've said multiple times, will just come back. So if you have Survivor on the field, they blow up. They get up like 2 or 3 monsters. You Torrential. They lose theirs. You get your Survivor back. It's such a good little dick move. And then the last card's double Mirror Force. It's a Mirror Force. You can run 2, so in this deck, why not? Why not run 2? So, yeah. Those are the cards in this deck. I believe it's a 40-card deck list. I don't run MSTs. I side them. You know, if the opponent likes to go Decree second game, and if I lose the second game, I'll typically go triple MST third game. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Comment with any tips for the deck list if you have any. Constructive criticism, please. Okay, thanks. Bye.